So Dave, big guest.
Rock star, man.
Rock star. And everyone right now, get your lighters. Do you still do that?
Yeah, kids do not do that with lighters
Hold your cell
anymore,
phone
no.
up in the air, because we have a real-life rock star. Chris Slade is on, and it's time for Minutia Men Celebrity Interview.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is the Minutia Men Celebrity Interview with Rick and Dave.
So, Dave, this week's guest, as we mentioned, a bona fide rock star. He's played drums for the likes of Tom Jones, Olivia Newton-John, Manfred Mann's Earth Band, Uriah Heep, Gary Newman, The Firm, David Gilmour, AC/DC, Asia, Michael Schenker.
Slow down there, man.
And now he has his own band, the Chris Slade Timeline. That's a giveaway who this is. Please welcome to the show, Chris Slade. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for that introduction.
Sure. We're talking to you in England. Are you in England right now or Wales?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm in UK right now.
Okay.
Yep.
We have many questions, so many questions to ask you about all these great bands. But
Chris blocked out like 7 hours. Okay.
But we also want to talk to you about your new album. But I want to start at the very beginning in Wales. I know you're from the same town as Tom Jones.
That's unusual.
And I like that. You played on all his big hits in the 1960s. So our first journalistic, hard-hitting question is, did you ever get hit with a pair of panties that was thrown from the audience?
An errant throw.
No, when I was in the band, that hadn't happened yet.
Oh, really?
But I saw the first one. And I know where it originated. It goes back to the Copacabana in New York City. And one of the first times Tom and the band, the Squires we were called, went to New York City and certainly played the Copa. And it was rammed every night. We played a week there. It was just jammed every single night, shoulder to shoulder. And there were tables as well. And one time, just this one night, the waiters came out carrying a table. You know, that's strange, because it was a tiny place, really. And Tom's stage was the 10 by 10 dance floor. The orchestra, because it was an orchestra, 30-piece orchestra behind on the bandstand, and the dance floor, 10 by 10, was his stage, was Tom's stage. And suddenly this place was rammed. And suddenly the waiters brought this table. You know, that's a bit strange. Put a bottle of champagne down. And this guy, he must have been pretty, connected.
Uh-huh.
And he had this lady with him. And they both sat at the table on the corner of the dance floor in the Copa. Like on stage. It's like being, on stage in Madison Square Gardens, So that was the corner there, and they were sitting down, enjoying the show. And Tom, after almost every song, used to go and pick up a napkin off each table, and he would wipe his forehead with it, because he sweated a lot, because it was he worked out a lot.
He's moving. He's up there.
Old stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tom went over to this table, and he reached for a napkin to wipe his forehead. She stood up and said, "Just a minute," and she took her panties off.
Wow.
And she gave them to Tom.
Wow.
So he took the panties, wiped his forehead, and gave them back to her. I don't know if she put them back on or not.
Amazing.
Well, I was there for that. And that's a true story. And I was there and I saw it. That's where the panties thing came from. They don't even know why they're doing it, why they're throwing panties on stage. But they do by the dozens.
I love that. That is one of the great stories.
Now those panties are on eBay for like $175,000.
So you think that guy was a mobster? The table that they brought on there. You think, like have you seen that scene in Goodfellas where they set the table up for the mobster right in front of the stage? That's what it sounded like. Yep.
I think that's about right. Really, I do, because the Copa was full of gangsters and mobsters.
Right.
You know? And Tom was a hot ticket.
You know, and I think people forget, especially younger people, how huge Tom was in those days. You know, you had songs, She's a Lady.
He was massive.
Yeah, what's New Pussy?
For about a year, he was bigger than Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley put together.
Wow.
Yeah.
He
was that big.
So
massive.
So you
the
guys
places used to put. They used to put "He is here" when they put it on the marquee. You know, put it up on the marquee. He is here.
Well, what was it like for you? You know, you guys were young Welsh boys. You know, probably hadn't really traveled the world much. Then, boom, you get this crazy acclaim. And are you still in touch with Tom at all?
Yes, we're not great friends or anything, but we still talk. And last time I spoke to him, I said Timeline, we do Delilah. And he said, Delilah? Said I stopped doing that about 20 years ago. I said, well, you want to do it, man, because it's a great crowd pleaser. I played death metal festivals. Honestly, south of France, we did a death metal festival, and I went, oh God, I've left Delilah on the set list, from last night. And when it came to do it, I thought, shall we do it or something? And I thought, never mind, we'll do it anyway. So, great surprise, these death metalers, hands in the air, singing, why, Delilah. They all knew it.
That's awesome.
And we do it as a sort of a bit of a comedy song,
Yeah, right.
Although it's a serious subject, it's about a woman being killed by her lover.
Yeah. I hadn't listened to the lyrics of that until probably about 5-10 years ago, and you're right, it is a song about like stabbing somebody. Like, holy crap!
Yep.
So
I felt the knife in my hand, and she laughed no more.
Yeah. So after you left his
serious.
band, so we're dealing.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got a little delay here, I think.
After you left his band, you worked with another lead singer. Tell everybody who the lead singer of that next band was, because I don't think she was famous yet at that time, right?
No, she wasn't. No, Livy was not famous yet. Olivia Newton-John. She'd just come from Australia, and I rehearsed a bit. We didn't do any gigs together. Rehearsed a little bit, and we did promotion for their movie. She was in the movie. I wasn't in the movie. I was the replacement drummer at the time. Oh. But being the movie thing, they paid really well. And I knew the keyboard player because he used to work with Tom Jones. So that went on for about 6-9 months, I think. But no shows. But she was, you could tell she was a really good singer. And she was a nice-looking lady, of course.
Yes.
So she did, she went from strength to strength after that.
Yeah,
it was called Tomorrow, 200, T-O-O,
yeah.
Tomorrow. But it was a terrible movie. Terrible.
Whatever.
Chris is much better.
So basically the 60s you were spent with Tom Jones and Olivia Newton-John. Then here comes the 70s, and you're the founding member of Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Well, you guys had a couple of giant smash hits. Blinded by the Light, of course. I still maintain that your version much better than the original from Bruce Springsteen. But do you have any highlights from those years going into the 70s?
Any what going into the 70s?
Any highlights from those
good
years?
stories
Any good
from
stories
those
from
days?
there?
Oh, right. No. When it comes to things like that, I just you dry up, don't you? When somebody asks you, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, God, I don't know."
Just make something up, Chris. We don't care.
Yeah, I'm good at that. Yeah, I'm a songwriter,
Yeah. Wizards, zombies, whatever. Just, I don't care.
Yeah, I've done a few zombie autographs actually. They paid me to do it, so I had to, of course. No, it was to me, it's just working.
Yeah.
I just want to play drums. I've always wanted to play drums. I said I want to be a drummer all my life. I haven't succeeded yet, but I'm working on it.
Well, I would argue.
Yeah,
with
I
that.
think you're doing pretty good.
You were also worked with a little known guitarist in a band called The Firm. I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, his name is Jimmy Page. Paul Rogers from Bad Company was in that band.
Silly name, isn't it?
Yeah. Dave and I were working in college radio when those albums came out in the 80s, and they were huge.
Oh, we played the crap out of that. It was great.
What was it like being part of that band, like this all-star band?
It was fantastic. It really was. Tony Franklin on bass.
Yeah, right.
Who's a great player, still a great player.
Yeah.
Fretless monster. And it was a great experience. It lasted 2 or 3 years maximum. We brought out 2 albums, and to me it was really, as you just said, it's a really good albums.
Yeah.
And I was as surprised as you when it didn't go any further. But, you'd have to ask Pagey or Paul what happened there.
Right.
I think they just had enough of it and decided to pull the plug. But, I get people, even at Timeline shows now, and they bring a firm album. I get hundreds bring a firm album. And a lot of them say, depending on which album or whatever, it don't matter. They say, this is my favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
And I say, not like mine is Zeppelin or Floyd, but to them, I say, what, not Zeppelin, not Floyd, a Bad Company? No, The Firm is my favorite album. And it happens every gig I go to.
That's wild.
And they want me to sign it, of course.
Is it true that they waited to create that band until you finished touring with David Gilmour?
Speaking of Floyd.
Yes. Yeah. Well, believe it or not, Gilmour and Page phoned on the same day.
Oh, really?
An hour and a half apart.
That's wild.
And I'd already committed to Gilmour when Pagey phoned. And I thought, oh, well, at the end of that, he's going to get somebody else. He said, oh, that's okay. We'll wait.
Wow. How long did they wait?
And I couldn't. Waited in the end 9-10 months.
Wow.
That's a tip of the cap to
you. It was going to be 3 months. It was going to be 3 months with Gilmour, and then it kept getting extended. I kept calling Jim and saying, telling him what was going on. He said, it's okay. We're in no rush.
Wow.
Do you believe that?
Wow.
Amazing.
Are you still keeping in touch with Jimmy Page?
No, I haven't seen him for a long time.
Okay.
I've seen Paul, and he's singing better than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
got a great
one of the best ever,
greatest vocalists.
So there's so many things to ask you about, but since we only have you for this short time, let me cut right to the chase. I've seen you in concert before playing drums. You are an amazing drummer. You were the drummer for AC/DC during the early 90s resurgence, right? With Thunderstruck, Mistress for Christmas, that sort of.
Yep.
That was amazing. Just one of my favorite concerts ever. Now, I always thought, and maybe I'm wrong, you can tell me if I'm wrong, because that was kind of a family band, it must have been tough to kind of seamlessly fit into that band. How did they greet you? What was that experience like?
It was great, actually, because they didn't know very much about me at all, and hardly anything of my history. They just took me on face value, really.
Oh.
Surprisingly, before that, I was working with Gary Moore for the year before that.
Right.
And we had Gary Moore and AC/DC at that time had the same management. So it gave me a chance to audition. But it just gave me a chance to audition. Didn't mean that I was going to get the gig.
Right.
I've always made a point of fitting in. You know, you've got to stock in trade, you know?
Yeah.
You've just got to fit in with the band you're going to work with.
Yeah, you can't be
you know, if you're moody or something or not a nice guy, you won't last a week.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and the drummer especially, right? And they expect the drummer to...
Yeah, who needs drummers, man?
Yeah, we had Alan White on the show, from Yes.
Oh, I know Alan. Yeah.
And he told us a story when he met the guys in Yes. They're like, we're leaving in about
3 days or whatever.
Can you learn our catalog? And that's Yes. Those are...
that isn't.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That is some feat.
Yeah.
He was a great drummer, Alan.
He sure was.
I used to see him when I was in Washington. I used to live in Washington State.
Right.
And my daughter lives there.
Okay.
So I saw him a few times over the years, of course.
So who are in your mind?
I had a real problem. I had to learn Gary Moore stuff in 4 days before I was on the plane. It's the hardest thing I've ever done musically.
Yeah, I bet.
And that was something else because he just didn't want me to learn the songs. He wanted little hi-hat chips in here, or that's where the crash cymbal goes, or,
right.
You know, exactly the way that Cozy Powell had played the album.
Wow.
And I think Cozy left the band because Gary wanted him to play exactly the same every night. Now, I have no problem with that, but Cozy did.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be tied down with that, you know, so he left, and that's where my break came with Gary Moore.
So, if of all the drummers, we're talking about some of the all-time great rock and roll drummers, who is the one that you look up to as the best?
Oh,
it's another favorite color, another color question.
Yeah, it is really. I mean, Bonham is absolutely tremendous, of course.
Right.
It goes without saying. But, you know, a friend of mine is a tremendous drummer, Todd Zuckerman, who plays in the band Styx.
We went to college with his brother.
Yeah, we did.
Joel Zuckerman is...
really?
We worked in radio with Todd's brother, Joel.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a small world.
That's amazing.
Did you ever meet Keith Moon?
Yes.
Yeah. And you survived.
I'm keeping that for the book.
And you survived. Good job. So tell us about your new band.
He borrowed my...
I'm sorry?
He borrowed my drums once.
Did you get them back?
Just about. Not in one piece, though.
Yeah. I think the fact that you didn't hang around with him very much means that that's why you're still alive.
Yeah,
so good for you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your new... talk about your new band, Chris Slade Timeline. Who's
not
in the
really
band?
new anymore.
No,
is
it's
it?
not.
Yeah.
Tell us.
We've been together 12 years, actually.
Yeah.
Same people. We hate each other, but we're the same people.
So nobody's fitting in very well. But
No. So it's one of the best bands I've ever worked with musically. They are absolutely tremendous. We have two singers. One does the AC/DC type stuff and the up-tempo stuff. And the bass player, that's Bun Davis, B-U-N. And the other singer is Stevie G. He sings the Jimmy Page, Earth Band, David Gilmour type stuff. And he also plays bass in the band. And it's James Cornford on guitar, who's a tremendous guitarist, absolutely tremendous. And Mike Clark on keyboards. And Mike and James have been playing together since they were 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
And they're 35 now.
Oh, they're youngsters.
So they're a pretty tight unit. And it's tremendous to play with them every night, of course.
And, of course, Chris Slade on the drums.
Yeah, well, I wanted a band that could play my material. I've had bands before that just did AC/DC, but I wanted a band that could play the other stuff as well. And I know these guys were capable, more than capable, because they used to do covers, but they do covers of like Genesis and Yes, for instance, and Kansas, stuff like that, vocally as well. So I knew that they were great, these guys. So I just wanted to play my life, if you like.
Yeah.
And I knew they were capable. I asked them, and they wouldn't mind switching styles from AC/DC to maybe even Tom Jones,
Yeah, right.
Which we do occasionally. So, it's great to have, compared to me, young musicians that I work with, because you get a whole new ideas, new ideas,
Yeah, perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got two sons that also keep me informed of stuff that's going on. And they're both drummers. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That must be
There's a lot of noise in that
loud house. Wow.
How do your neighbors? Have you ever been evicted from the neighborhood association at all?
I've never played drums at home.
Oh, okay.
I never played drums at home, except when I was a teenager.
Gotcha.
Because I'm so conscious of neighbors,
Oh, good for you.
We didn't, in my formative years, like about 11 to about 15, I practiced every day when I came home from school. And we were a attached house, it was in a terrace. And never once did either side neighbors ever complain. Never once.
Well, that's
and
because...
So I always say what drummers need when they are starting is good neighbors.
Well, one of your neighbors were the Bonhams and the other one were the Moons, so they didn't care, right? What are you?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
So you're touring. You're touring the world right now. You come to Chicago. Where are you headed?
We would love to come to Chicago. We are at the moment working all over Europe. Okay. Germany, France. We were in Italy just 2 weekends ago. We go to south of France next weekend. We were in Poland 3 months ago, more like 4 months ago now. We've been to Czech Republic, We work in Germany all the time, Luxembourg, all our little countries, Belgium, all over Europe. So
awesome.
it's, I love it. I love being on the road.
So if people
There's
want
nothing
to follow
better
you,
for me than,
if people here in America want to follow you in the band, what is the best way to do that?
it's Chris Slade Timeline on Facebook.
Okay.
And you can also buy the CD there. And there's chrisslade.com. I'm going to be putting the dates up on there. And it's, we sell the CDs on both those places.
Okay.
Yeah, and definitely if they buy from you, you get more of the money too.
Yeah.
Rather than a third-party retailer. Do you have plans on a a American tour? Is there anything in the works?
No, I wish there was.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wish there was.
Maybe we'll make that
first of all, you
happen.
need a promoter.
Yeah. Well.
You need a promoter to, I've got a green card, but the band don't.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Those pesky immigration
you need
laws.
visas.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Have a word with immigration. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
well, check back with us
I've
after.
lived in the States.
I'm sorry, go.
I used to live in the States. I lived there a couple of times. And me and my missus last time were in Las Vegas.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah, that's well. Thanks a lot for
Yeah, Chris,
giving
this
us
has been
your
great.
time here.
We don't often get to talk to someone of your caliber in the rock and roll business, which is our favorite kind of music in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And we really respect
Right.
everything that you have done. And we're thrilled that you took some time out of your busy schedule to chat with us today. So thank you very much, Chris.
Not at all. My pleasure. And thank you. I should be thanking you.
Oh, no. Thank you. And we'll see what we can do about having you come to America.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
work on that.
We'll work on
Get you
Yeah.
some green
getting you some
cards. We'll
gigs.
get you some
I'll let you
promoters.
know if there are any plans.
Yeah.
Okay,
We would love
sounds
to see
good.
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chris.
Bye-bye.
You got my number anyway. So
I do.
Yeah. We're going to be making crank phone calls to
Yeah,
you.
we'll call you like once a week.
Yeah, just, how you doing, Chris? Did you take the trash
okay,
out?
right. Yeah.
Your lawn's getting a little
Okay.
shaggy.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
See you later,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Like my hair. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
There he is.
What a great guy.
Man's a legend.
Oh, my God. Yeah, look at this. AC/DC Tom Jones.
Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to talk to him a lot. I mean, it sounded like he didn't really have much on Manfred Mann. But,
Well, yeah, I mean, he played in The Firm, which,
yeah,
seriously, when we were in college radio, that album was the number
it
one
was
power
huge.
rotation.
It was huge. AC/DC. I mean,
Yeah.
Thunderstruck. He's the drummer on Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
That's
2000.
every time a relief pitcher comes into a baseball game.
I know.
Thunder.
Yeah, which is probably not getting any money for either. No, he was great. Thank you, Chris.
Well, we have people to thank for this show. In addition to Chris Slade himself, we need to thank executive producer Tony Lasano with Opie Shows. We need to thank Ed Silla with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It's just moved to a better place.
and John Lampin.
And John
for making
Lappin
making this happen.
Yes, thank you very much, John. We greatly appreciate you reaching out and getting us a tremendous guest.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do these again, right?
You know,
Maybe even very soon with another episode of
a new Shemin Celebrity Interview.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
And the girl gets up and she said, just a minute. And
Yeah, sorry. Our smoke detector just went off. Okay.
The place is on.
I'm not smoking.
Yeah. No, yeah.
The place is on fire just like you were that night with Tom
Sorry.
Jones.
Yeah.